Welcome back. Today we are going to finish up the zip sheathing on the house. Today's video is dedicated to Jake, who seemed concerned that I was slowing down on my posting. Sorry, Jake. Weather, holidays, and the tediousness of this work has slowed me down a little bit, but here we go. And Jake, I might be reaching out to you to get some of your newly acquired knowledge on lighting design as I get closer to that area. So if you recall, the first part of this wall, the bottom part, we sheathed while the wall was on the ground and we raised it. So now I have to finish sheathing the top part of this wall, and I'm doing it in the same fashion that I have done the other walls in the past. So I'm using just a rope and a pulley and getting the sheathing about where I need it. It doesn't have to be perfect because then I can go up and set it in place. And then I'm really just tacking in these sheets. I don't have the reach to be able to fully nail each sheet, so I'm going to have to get on the outside of the building and finish all of the nails and the tape from the outside. But I can, because of the windows and the openings, get all of this sheathing in place and at least tacked up, so that then when I'm on the outside, I don't have to worry about trying to actually raise or place any of the sheets on the wall. When doing work like this, I take the winds wherever I can find them, and in this case, it's just the number of openings that I have on this loft second floor, which is going to be our master bedroom, allows me to put up smaller pieces of sheathing and to nail them and tack them, as I mentioned, in place without having to go to any crazy lengths. The nailing and taping of them from the outside is a little tricky, and we'll see that here in a little bit. But for the most part, it starts to get more manageable as I get higher, because it's just smaller pieces of zip sheathing that I'm putting up at a time. And the window openings allow me to reach out and tack it in place, as I mentioned, so that I can then go back and nail it from the outside. And while I do have a 24-foot extension ladder, it just doesn't help me on this side of the house at all, because that top part of the ceiling, the roof there, is about 40 feet above the ground, roughly close to it. And there isn't really a ladder that's going to help me do the things I need to do at that height. One of our viewers made a kind observation that the time-lapse approach to these videos sort of undercuts the effort that's required to do some of the stuff. So I appreciate that comment, and I tend to agree. It looks a lot easier when it goes a lot faster. It's a little difficult to tell from this angle, but if you've been watching along, you know that the wall on the right is straight across the top. It's the straight roof line, and the wall on the left is a rake wall at 3.5/12 pitch, so it's angled down. The impact of that is that on the wall that I'm sheathing at the moment, all of the sheathing is going up to the second plate of the double top plate, and then we'll end there, and then we will be adding rafter tails and eaves and things like that once we get all the sheathing complete. But then on the rake wall side, I'm going to sheathe up to the bottom of the rafter that is acting as somewhat of a rim joist for the roof. That's on the edge of the top plate on the rake wall side, and the reason I do that is I'll need to end up putting up a ladder box for the eaves and things like that, so I want a little bit of room so that I'm not running into the sheathing when I'm trying to create the eaves. And now what I'm doing is putting out scaffolding support for the scaffold that I'll need to use in order to nail and tape the remainder of the sheathing from the outside. So this is just 2x6 pieces of lumber. I'm jutting them out about 2 feet from the house, and then when I lay down the scaffolding, as you can see here, I keep it about a foot away from the house, so that I have room to stand and that I'm not too crowded against the wall. It's also nice to have this scaffold close enough to the wall that you can't fall through it. Not that you're going to, but it just gives you a lot more comfort if you have to sit down or scoot around, that you can lean on that wall without having any concerns about falling. So here is the final sheathed house. The only exception is this entryway here at the front. We actually have the concrete guys coming next week, I think, to pour the footers for the entryway. So it's only about a 5x5 entryway that we're putting in, but then I'm going to have to build out the the entryway structure and the opposing roof. So there's going to be a roof that goes in the other direction over the entryway and meets up with the existing roof. So that's something that we'll be doing here in the next week. For this last wall, I was able to finish it. I was able to use the ladder for an awful lot of it, and I really had to because you can see on this wall there just aren't very many windows. And so I didn't have the option for building out scaffolding. I did put a piece up to get the very top peak there. As you can see, I've got a couple of scaffold supports. But other than that, I was able to finish up that whole piece with the ladder, which I was pretty pleased with. You can see the scaffolding supports there and the scaffolding. And as a reminder, on this whole backside, there's going to be a pretty big deck. And so that'll jut out and overlook sort of the bluff that we're on. But we're making progress, and the next the next project will be to start building out the eaves with all the rafter tails and the ladder box eaves on the side. So look forward to that coming soon. This is where I'm at. Thanks for watching. See you next time.